Shalom. All right. Call Halayim La Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Waka'akadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of the great millstone who rule well of Yasha'Allah being Hebrew for Israel. All right. I'm your brother Shariat and Awasah Shaman. To my left is
Brother Mahar.
And pretty much this is a quick lesson of actual breakdown, right? On the mark of the beast. What is the mark of the beast? Okay? And this is something that really you so-called Negroes, aka blacks, so-called, as well as you so-called Latinos, and as well as you so-called Native American Indians need to be aware of. The mark of the beast is here, right? In the form of the RFID chip. It's cutting straight to the chase. What we're gonna prove to you is not a spiritual mark, right? It's not a religion. It's not a man. It's not a type of dogma. It's not an embargo, whatever you want to call it. It's not any of these things. All right. So without any further ado, let's get the first scripture, brother. Revelation 13-16.
God. Revelations 13-16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark.
A what?
A mark.
Okay. So a mark is something that's left on you permanently, right? That's what you understand, right? I guess in like layman's terms, right? If you will. So this is something that would pretty much have to leave a stain on you, and a stain is physical, right? First and foremost. But we're gonna actually get that word when you actually go into the Bible and get the definitions of the words that's in the Bible, right? And the Bible is written in two languages, right? So the languages we will be going into tonight will be, where we're at right now, we're in the so-called New Testament, which was written in the Greek language. So we'll be getting the word for it in the Greek before it became the English word known as mark. What is the mark? What is the word for mark in Greek, right? You can finish that verse real quick, brother.
Revelation 13, chapter 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand.
So,
or, it's like,
so keep going, you can finish.
Or in their foreheads.
So this is the book of Revelation, right? When you go into, if you have a certain type of Bible that gives you an introduction about the chapter or about this book, right? I believe it's the prologue or something like that. But pretty much when you go into the introduction, right, the briefing of what the book is about, it tells you that the word revelation means, it says Revelation is the only New Testament book that focuses primarily on prophetic events. Its title meaning unveiling, or disclosure. Thus, the book is an unveiling of the character and program of God, right? Who you people understand to be God, but that's a title, right? Who that title belongs to, in essence, and period, right, is his name is Yahweh, right? God means power, and the true power of heaven and earth that created all this, that had all of this created, he created all this, his name is Yahweh. And he has a son, and his son's name is Yahweh Shai. All right? Now, so the book Revelation just simply means unveiling or disclosure, right? Or just a reveal. So, of the character and program of God. So it's a program that's running right now that you're a part of. And it says the program is scheduled to have a time where you're going to be forced, according to this, to take some mark either in your right hand or forehead. It doesn't matter, according to this, Revelation 13-16, the Bible, which is in the Bible. It doesn't matter if you're rich, poor, what is it?
Small, great, free, or bond,
man. It doesn't matter if you're free. It doesn't matter if you're a slave. It doesn't matter if you're physically free. It doesn't matter if you're physically a slave. It doesn't matter if you're mentally free. It doesn't matter if you're mentally a slave, man. You will be forced to take this chip. You're expected to take this chip in God's program, right? You're not expected to take it. You will, what's the light, brother? You will be on schedule to possibly taking this, because this is the time that's written. Now, with that being said, let's unveil what that word mark means in the Greek.
Alright, I got it.
Charagma. Go into it.
So the word charagma, so the definitions is from the same as G5482, which is a code, but it says a scratch or etching.
A what?
A scratch.
So that's something that leaves a stain on you. It's like a blemish. Aren't your blemishes physical? Doesn't that deal with your physical appearance? Right? Go ahead.
A scratch or etching.
Etching. Okay, keep going.
That is stamped.
Okay. Now, that is what? An etching, meaning, they're giving you the definition, meaning what?
That is stamped.
So, it's likened to a scratch, which is physical, but it would be a stamp, right? So you're going to be stamped with a physical mark that you're going to have to receive in your head or your forehead, because the word in Greek for mark is charagma, and we're going to get it and play it so you can hear it.
Strong's G5480, charagma, charagma.
So it's charagma. Let's play it one more time.
Strong's G5480, charagma, charagma.
So charagma, this is known as the Blue Letter Bible. You can get you a Blue Letter Bible and you go into that word mark, and it's going to show you the word right here that you can read it in. It's going to say charagma. It says a stamp, an imprinted mark. Imprinted. So inside of the, let's get the word for the etymology for imprint. It says of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. So this mark is going to represent a badge, right? According to the program, the Most High has scheduled, the Most High being Yahweh, he has scheduled for people to, under the rulership of the Antichrist that run the earth, which is a whole nother topic, right? You're gonna have to receive a badge to basically show you're with the order inside the program, right? That's kind of actually going against the program. It's not really a part of the program. It's just something that's gonna happen on the program. Programs being likened unto shows. So on this, there's a certain episode that's getting ready to come up, right? A time, a part of a bigger time, right? That's what episode goes into. That is kind of actually going to oppose the program, right, of the Most High, of Yahweh. And that's people receiving the badge, right, of their uh, alliance with the so-called white man, because he runs the earth. You get the etymology, Baba Kushar, brother?
Etymology, the word imprint. So imprint is a verb.
So it's an action. What is a verb? A verb is an action, man. So it's something that's actually it's something that you're gonna actually have to do. It's something that's actually gonna be done.
It's physical.
It's physical.
So it's formerly also imprint with an E. So it's late 14th century. It comes from the word imprinting. Imprinton. It says to mark by pressure.
So this is 100% gonna be physical. So for you to receive it, this imprint, you're gonna have to feel it. It's some type of pressure that's gonna be applied to your right hand. This is perfect. Or applied to your forehead. This is perfect. Go ahead.
To mark by pressure. Stamp.
Stamp.
To impress on the mind or memory. From Old French imprinter.
Only get the ones that apply.
It says to stamp, engrave, imprint, to mark. It's an impression.
So there you go. So it's what? Read that thing for the mind again, because we could break that down. It said what?
It says from Old French imprinter, and that's to stamp, to engrave, imprint. It says to impress on the mind.
Where's your mind at? Is your mind outside of your head? No, it's inside. You see that? So it's gonna go inside you, man. Imprint, implying, right? What it really means underneath being within, you know? Because something is on top of something, right? So your mind is underneath your physical, man. So imprint goes into inside, man. Interior, exterior. So this mark is gonna be put inside you, man. It's gonna leave an impression, hints on your mind, cause it's gonna be inside you, man. Go ahead.
It says from assimilated form of in, so into.
See?
Or upon.
See? So in or into, man. So without any more further ado, we're gonna show you. One of you brothers can put this up to the camera. All right. So that's showing you right there that you're gonna receive a mark. It should be a icon on there that shows people receiving it into their hand. If you can point to it for me, brother. You know? Thank you. You know? So you can see the gun. This is the process of it. People receiving it in their hands, man. And it's the size of a piece of rice, comparable to, you know, some pocket change. There should be an image on there for that. How do we have these images? Because it's here already. The episode is getting ready to come on. Most of the episodes, how do you think when you watch a TV show, they're able to tell you, and on the next episode of, because it's already been prepared. It's beyond post-production. It's ready already. This episode is getting ready to come on, man. So stay tuned. Okay, brothers, that's good. All right, and we're gonna go back to the sound a little bit later, because this is serious. Because you got people out here talking about the chip is not physical. Chip's no dip. The RFID chip is what you was just looking at. That's what's here. That's what people are receiving in their hands, man. Right? It's already here. This is something 100% physical. We just went into Mark. Mark goes into charagma, which brought us to what word? Was it imprint?
Imprint.
Imprinted mark. When you go into the word imprint, it means in. It means into. Simply, man.
It says press.
Press. So that's physical, man. And it's a verb. You know? It's a verb, man. A verb is an action. A verb is something that's actually going to be done. All right. Now, let me finish the rest of this. It says the mark branded horses for rest, because that was the etymology, right? So once again, the word mark means in the Greek, before it's translated to the English word mark, the word used to be charagma, and charagma, it means a stamp and in-printed mark. So we went into the etymology of the word imprint, and it means in. It implies into. It means in or into, man. So it's going to be inside you. This mark is going to be inside you. And it's likened unto a scratch. So that's physical. That's the RFID chip, man. That's just there. It's just that clear. That's just the etymology for the word imprint. But when you keep going on it, it says of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of the followers of the Antichrist. The mark branded upon horses. Thing, car, sculpture, graven work, you know. But that's pretty much it on that, man. Now, let's get the next scripture. And then we're going to get why does this have to be. Because this thing is serious, man. People are walking around knowing about the mark of the beast, but you truly don't know about it because they believe that it's some type of it's your credit card. No, it said, okay, if it's your credit card is about to be put inside you. And your credit, guess what? If it's your credit card, isn't that physical? Your credit card is about to go inside you, man. You know, because you got a lot of smart guys out here, man. So lock it.
They already got it on you. You know what I'm saying?
Ezekiel 9. Start at verse 1. Okay? And we're going to show, okay, if this is of the program of God, we're gonna go into proving that this is a physical thing, which this has already been brought out before, but by the Spirit, all the men of the Lord, you know, who've been set up to prophesy these words, man, they're supposed to warn you of this and bring this out, right? The true teachers are supposed to teach this, man.
Ezekiel 9, chapter 9 and 3.
Huh?
And the glory of power of Israel was going up from the cherub.
So the glory of the power of Israel, man. The glory of the power of Israel, you know, is being spoke about right here. Keep listening.
From the cherub, whereupon he was to the threshold of the house.
Right.
And he called to the man clothed with linen.
So he called to the man, right?
Which had the writer's inkhorn by his side.
So he was getting ready to write. Keep going.
And Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem.
So he's giving this man that was ready to write, right? With this inkhorn, right? He was ready to write. He's selling him the Lord, whose name is actually Yahweh. Hey, before you do that, do this. Go ahead, because there's a lot going on right now. But this is the point. Go ahead.
So,
from
the top. So Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. And Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem.
So go through the midst of the city of Jerusalem. Who lives in Jerusalem? Israelites. Israelites, you so-called blacks, aka Negroes, you so-called Latinos, and you so-called Native American Indians. Right? You're the people. Because Jerusalem is a people before it's a place. Right? Go ahead.
And set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
Now let's get that word for mark. So the Lord says set a mark, because you have marks all throughout the scriptures. But the mark talked about in the book of Revelation doesn't compare to these marks. Is that a real mark? Is that a physical mark right here? Let's go into it.
So this in the Old Testament, so it's a Hebrew word.
So this would be a Hebrew definition. This is what this word was before it became the English word mark in the Hebrew in the Old Testament. Go ahead. Which is known as the Hebrew Scriptures. Salaki.
The word is thought.
So the word for
What?
the word for mark in Hebrew is tawah. It's a completely different word. So let's see if the definition is the same. Because we just found out in Revelation the word for mark, right, in Greek is known as charagma, and that means a stamp or imprinted mark, right? Which and you go into the word imprinted, it literally means inside you, man. Go ahead. So let's find out what the Hebrew meaning is for the word mark in Hebrew, which is tawah. Tawah.
The word is tawah. So the definition is a mark by implication, a signature.
See that? Keep going.
Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. And Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city,
right,
through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men.
So you're going to set a mark. A mark is talked about to be set on the forehead of people in the book of Revelation. So is this being applied the same way? Keep going. So the Lord is telling him to set a mark upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem, which would have been the Israelites back then, the real Israelites, right? So-called blacks, Latinos, and so-called Native American Indians. But at this time, it would have just been the so-called blacks, because so-called Native American Indians and Latinos were gone already due to a captivity they had came out of years ago, prior to this point, right? Go ahead.
So this Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4. And Yahweh said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry.
So I want you to make a distinguishing factor about the men that sighing and crying. To continue.
For all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
So the people that have a problem with what's going on, the wickedness that's going on, mark those men. Set a mark upon their forehead. So we went into the word mark. It means tawah. Well, it's actually tawah in Hebrew. And it doesn't really imply a physical mark.
Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 5. And to the others he said, in mine hearing, go ye after him.
So the people that don't receive this mark, he said, do what?
Go ye after him through the city and smite.
And smite. So this is an angel that's being instructed to do this. The angel's being instructed to set a mark upon the Israelites who have a problem with all the wickedness that's going on. They're suffering mentally, right? So that's why the Lord said set the mark upon their forehead. Why didn't he say hand as well? Because in Revelation it said hand and forehead. Now, let's go into the word forehead. We're going to get another scripture. Proving that this mark basically we're proving that the mark talked about in Revelation is an outright physical thing, man. It's not none of these quacky tacky Christian philosophies and another. That's another thing. The mark of the beast is not a philosophy, because they're going to tell you you can't buy or sell without having the mark in your forehead or in your hand. You can't buy with a philosophy. And then when you go into it, it shows you that it's a badge. How they gonna know you have the badge that you follow the Antichrist just off you having the philosophy? You could be lying about that, right? They need to really know you're with this thing. So it's a physical mark, which is the charagma. You're gonna have to receive that charagma, man, if you want to be able to buy and sell and continue your little pathetic life in this society, man. That is about to be destroyed, because that's the catch to this, right? You take this chip, you take that mark of the beast, it still won't save you, which is the chip. But let's get the word for forehead in this Ezekiel 9.
Matazah. The word pronounced is matazah. So definition, it says meaning to be clear, That is conspicuous.
So the forehead, the word for forehead in Hebrew is matazah, meaning to be clear. So it's talking about your mind, man. Go ahead. And your mind not physical. Go ahead.
It says, as open and prominent, your brow is impudence. And then it goes into the word forehead. That's it.
Now, let's prove it. Because your mind is where? Your what? We're going to get the word, because there's a lot of times you see in the scriptures, heart, heart, heart. The Lord knoweth your heart. It's not talking about the physical heart. See, it's the same thing with that. You got to know when it's physical and when it's spiritual. This book is spiritual. But the book talk about the carnality that is ruling the earth right now, which deals with physical things. The Lord don't deal with physical. That's what makes the Antichrist, because truly the Antichrist, they just don't believe that who people call Jesus Christ is that, and his name is actually Yahushua. They don't believe him to have walked the earth, right? So if they don't believe him to have walked the earth, right? They don't believe in him. That means they don't believe in his ways either. Guess what? He wasn't a carnal person either. He was spiritual. Everything is spiritual dealing with the Father. The episode that's about to take place on the program, right, is likened unto a scene. The scene that's about to play out on the movie of the Most High is a part where humans try to defy what the Most High wants and what he deems worthy. And we got some more scriptures we're going to get. So, the word, you can read the scriptures. So, when you go into the word heart, you can get any scripture that has heart in it, right? Just go into the Hebrew word. The word for heart in Hebrew is lav. Read the meaning, brother, Baba Kushar.
Definition for the word heart, which is Hebrew, the word lav. It says the heart, also used figuratively, very widely for the feelings.
See that? Is your feelings is emotional, man. It's things within you, right? Go ahead.
The will,
your will,
and even the intellect.
Get the ones that just apply. Now, is your intellect physical? No. That forehead is going into your mind, man, and your mind isn't physical, right? You got to know what the scriptures is talking about. But you can get Psalms 37 and 30. 37 and 37. Because it's that simple, man. You go into the word, you go into the words, and you go into the other instances, and you go into how the Most High works, right? And that's how you understand the mark of the beast to truly be this a physical thing, which is this RFID chip.
Call that again.
Psalms 37 and 37. Go ahead.
Psalms 37, verse 37.
Come.
Mark the perfect man.
What?
Mark the perfect man.
See that? Let's get the Hebrew word for that. Keep going. So, are you really gonna put a chip inside that man? No. Are you gonna go stab him? No. Keep going.
And behold the upright.
And behold the upright. So you're making a mental note of that man. That's what the Lord was talking about, man. It's likened unto the Passover, you know? But this time it ain't physical, man. Right? It's just it's marks are basically they're basically signs. They're likened unto proof, I should say. It's proof something happened. You know what I'm saying? It's just proof. That's all it is. Scriptures tell you, man, that you can't please the Lord in the flesh, man. But you can please Satan in the flesh.